Hello. This presentation, Integrating UDL, Universal Design for Learning, and MTSS, Multi-Tiered Systems of Supports, to ensure equity in curriculum and instruction. And really, for Sanger Unified, this is better known as just like putting it all together. How do we take all the things that we talk about and put it together to make it cohesive and to make sure that we are aligned and supporting our goals? So I'm going to quickly go over the agenda. This presentation, of course, is best done in person, but this hopefully you'll be able to pause and rewind and skip over different parts that you're not as interested in or don't fit your particular context. But part one is going to talk through MTSS and UDL foundations. Part two is guaranteed and viable curriculum. Part three, guaranteed and viable instruction, and then putting it all together. The links to these slides, and I apologize for the random bit.ly, this was a presentation that we did for some rural, which that word, I just can't say it, rural network of school districts that Sanger Unified is a part of. So those slides are available here and you can follow along. They're also on the PDF that is attached to this Canvas course. This is our strategic plan in Sanger Unified. We have our mission and vision up at the top, and then our three goals of raising all students' achievement, closing the achievement gap, and ensuring a safe environment. And then the strategies by which we're going to achieve those goals, PLCs, effective instruction, and multi-tiered systems of support, as well as some of the initiatives, balanced literacy and college career readiness, and the values and the beliefs. These beliefs aren't just like thrown on there, like they are what we try to live every day by not blaming the kids, by saying that all children can and must learn, and that we're not just going to hope, although hope is important, it is not the sole strategy. We need to actually plan for all student learning. The driver of a lot of this is the professional learning community, so PLC questions 1 through 4. And when we're using these questions, especially combined with MTSS, the multi-tiered systems of supports, and our universal design for learning lens, this is how we kind of frame the conversations that we have around teaching and learning in our district. So when it comes to MTSS and UDL, we're really thinking through how are we designing to remove barriers for all of our learners? And all does mean all. So what do we do for the students that have it, that have already learned it? And what do we do for the students that do not have it yet, that have not learned whatever we're saying is important for them to learn? An analogy of this is the instructional tiers. So we have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. The tier 1 would be the dentist. Everyone goes. That is your first initial best instruction. Included in that is UDL, thinking through the different lenses that we want to have effective instruction. Our tier 2 would be like the orthodontist, where some go. There's services and supports for a smaller population. Not everyone has to have braces. And then tier 3 would be an oral surgeon, where very few go, and there's services and supports that support very few in the system. A different way of looking at it, instead of a pyramid, is this, that it's tier 1 is the support for all instruction, all of our students. And UDL, again, is in tier 1. Thinking through the universal design for learning lens to provide great instruction should be happening for all of our learners. Then only some of them go to tier 2 and a few go to tier 3. What happens when we have a strained tier 1 system is that we have impacted interventions that have way too many students in them, a crazy deployment schedule. We're not able to serve all of our students' needs. We struggle finding time for core because we're always having to go back and do intervention and reteaching. We have drastic performance differences in the different tiers. So the difference between a student at a tier 1 versus a tier 3 is a huge number of grade level difference, for example. There's no time for common formative assessments, or common formative assessments are given, but then you don't go back and look at them and think through, okay, so what do we do for the students who know it? What do we do for the students who don't? And most, not importantly, but the biggest issue that happens in a strained tier 1 system is that the students who are learning differently are seen as a liability instead of the gift that they are. When it comes to effective MTSS meetings, we're looking at a lot of different things. Our MTSS teams provide accountability, they look at data analysis, we celebrate the growths, and we're looking at the system as a whole. So it allows times for these people, or for these people here, the teams, they should consist of admin, CSP, LST, RSP teacher, counselor, psych, classroom teacher, other staff. It allows them to go through these things and ensures that they have time to really look at the system as a whole to make sure and determine that it is not a strained tier 1 system. If that is the case, then really what needs to be shored up is our tier one system. And that's what brings us to UDL. In Sanger Unified, when we decided, or when we really looked at our system and we said that there's way too many, our pyramid is inverted, we have way too many students in tier two and tier three, we need to make sure that our tier one instruction is better. That first best instruction, that we need to make sure it is reaching more learners, that we are teaching all of our students in the margins, that we are removing barriers. So we looked at the Universal Design for Learning, which is written into all of the frameworks for the California standards. So Universal Design for Learning is a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people by removing barriers within the curriculum. The Universal Design for Learning is focused on three guidelines: engagement, representation, and action and expression. And it's based on three foundations: variability, context, and goals. I would encourage, if you haven't already, there are two videos. One is on UDL Foundations and one is on UDL Guidelines. And if you're not at all familiar with them, you might want to kind of come back to this after having watched those. The basic is that we have all of our students and our learners and our teachers have a jagged learning profile. They are not a one size fits all curriculum will not work for all of our students. We need to think through our students on the margins and use those strategies, the strategies that we might use for our most struggling learners, and the strategies that we need to engage or challenge our learners, and use those for all of our populations. For example, a visual, don't just say like, oh yeah, that's going to be great for my EL students or my students that are struggling. A visual is going to be great for all of our students. There are some things that are necessary and needed for some of our populations, but they're probably great for all of our populations. So necessary for some, beneficial for all. We have this graphic of the sunglasses or the glasses above the UDL guidelines because really it's the lens by which you should look at instruction and always be thinking through, am I providing multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression for all of my learners? And really, we're looking at intentional design. So if we look at this, not only is it aesthetically pleasing, but this allows for all people to access whatever is at the top of the stairs. It's not just a stair or set of stairs, there's a ramp. And that ramp is not just good for people in a wheelchair. It's good if you have a stroller. It's good if you are pushing or pulling something, a big cart full of all of your supplies. But it is beautiful. And that's what intentionally crafted lessons and learning experiences can be. They can be beautiful when we, from the beginning, design to remove barriers for all of our learners. So, quick pause of that. I'm going to make this part section 2, the GVC and GVI. So I'm going to pause this video and hope to see you soon.